I'm going to do this in a couple of different sections. This video is going to be about backpacking, backcountry camping. The first thing that I want to make sure that you understand is that if you have never done camping or it's been a while since you've done camping, I suggest that you don't actually start with backcountry camping. I suggest that you start with what's called car camping. And car camping kind of gets a bad rap because it's people are like, oh, you just go to a campground and you camp in your car. It doesn't have to be that. If you're car camping, you can actually go to national parks and there are places that you can pull your car off and you can be near a trailhead, but you can still access your car. And the reason that I say that is that that's like entry-level camping. And if you need something, you usually will have it in your car. And, you know, if it's something about comfort or if it rains or like you're afraid of a bear or whatever it is, you can use your car and have it there. When you are doing backcountry camping, everything that you have access to when you are camping has to be able to be portable enough to be on your back. And it's a different level. It's just a different level. So that's my disclaimer. If you've never done camping before, or if it's just been a while, like you used to camp as a kid, but like it's been a while since you've been camping, car camp first. Like do a good car camp first, and maybe do a few of them before you actually start backcountry camping. The other thing I would say is if you research, you will feel better. It will make you feel more confident, and I think that that's also a big part of this is feeling confident enough to do that. I would also say for your first backcountry camping, you want to choose a shorter trail. Again, like I said in the very first video, I think that you should do a loop trail because loop trails are harder to get lost on. So research whether or not backpacking and camping is allowed on that trail. Some examples of some good places to kind of do starter backcountry camping would be like Ravencliff Falls. If you go to Fort Mountain, they've got some good places that you can kind of start your camping experience, stay off the Gahooty. But there are some trails that are easier trails. Probably you want to stick to like 6 to 8 miles max as far as your beginning of this. And again, start with car camping first and then go to backcountry camping. So I'm going to do this in sections. The first section that I'm going to talk about is the pack itself. Hopefully you've watched my other videos. What I'm talking about in this video is backcountry camping. So going out, spending the night on a trail that's not car camping. If you've not camped in a while or you've never camped before, please do not start with backcountry camping or backpacking. I strongly suggest that you start with car camping. There's nothing wrong with car camping, and it's a really good way for you to kind of know, hey, this is something that I'm willing to sacrifice on, or hey, this is not something I'm willing to sacrifice on. For me, sleep and like sleeping systems are not something that's very important to me, but for other backpackers and hikers, a sleep system is absolutely and utterly essential. And so for them, that is something they're not willing to sacrifice on. And it's important that you know what you are willing to sacrifice on as far as your comfort level, because everything for backpacking is going to be carried on your back, and you can save a lot of weight if you're willing to give up on certain things. For me, I am not willing to give up on cooking systems. Like cooking is important to me. And so I will take the extra weight in order to have a good cooking system. So that's important, and I just want to make sure that you understand that when we talk about backpacking, I am talking about being on the trail for 1 night, 2 nights, 3 nights without access to a car. So just FYI. So again, I'm going to start this in a few different ways. The first thing that we're going to examine is the pack and what goes on the outside of the pack. So before I get to the pack, I wanted to let you know that this does not have to be an expensive hobby. It can be if you want it to be, but it doesn't have to be. If you're a high school kid, you know, and again, make sure that you get your parents' permission, but if you're a high school kid, I remember when I was doing this in high school and I was always broke. I was always like, I can't afford that, I can't afford this. There are ways that you can participate in this really cool, really important activity that don't cost a lot of money. First of all, you can rent equipment from state parks. If you go online and you research, you can rent tents, you can rent cooking equipment, you can rent packs, you can rent tons of stuff from state parks, and it's very convenient. And actually, in some places, even libraries will rent you backpacking equipment. So too, there are local groups that are like buy, sell, trade, borrow groups for camping equipment. Just research it. And remember, the people who have access to this stuff almost always are like older people. So like check your Nextdoor, like check your Nextdoor app, check Facebook and stuff like that. I have found Play It Again Sports is a great place for used camping equipment. And the stuff that makes it to Play It Again, they've actually fixed whatever needs to be fixed, and they've repaired whatever needs to be repaired. So you can find some really good, expensive stuff for very reasonable. Also, REI and Cabela, they also rent equipment, so check with them as well, because you can rent with them. And then check in with your family and friends. You actually might be kind of surprised as to who does this activity. And if you say, I'm interested in going to like backpacking, they might have some equipment that you can borrow, but you don't have to spend a lot of money. So that's my little disclaimer. You can spend a lot of money, but you don't have to. My husband knows that like every year, if he like gets me camping equipment that I have on my Amazon wish list, it's like the perfect, easiest camping gift. So go ahead and start your Amazon gift wish list. Pay attention to REI, because REI has sales all the time. I am not allowed to go into REI, because if I go into REI, I will spend money that I do not have. So yeah, okay. So these are the 3 different packs that I personally own. The first one, this is an external frame pack. I got this at Play It Again Sports for $12. And this is just some old Boy Scouts backpack. It's being held together here by like a string and a zip tie. And there is nothing wrong with this pack. When you are first starting out, it won't be the most comfortable thing. You can see the frame itself is kind of situated this way. The straps themselves aren't really adjustable. And there's not much as far as like architecture to the pack itself. But again, there's nothing wrong with this. If you're a kid and you're starting out, you don't have a lot of money, and this is all you can afford, that's fine. The main thing that you have to keep in mind with these types of packs is that you need a place to be able to store your stuff. So for example, at the bottom of this pack, there's a big old sleeping bag strapped to the bottom of it, okay? So that's the external frame. This is my old pack from high school. And this has a lot more architecture to it. So it's got this like back padding area. I got this pack. This is Bessie, and I love her, but she's huge. And to be perfectly honest, she's 70 plus 15. So this is an 85 liter gargantuan pack. And there is really no reason for you to have a pack that big. I mean, even if you're going out on the Appalachian Trail, I would argue even for a through hike, you wouldn't have an 85 liter pack. But I do love Bessie. And this is the type of pack that is, it's an internal frame, and you've got, this is what's called the brain, by the way, which you can remove if you want to. The material is very sturdy, which is good because I am hell on equipment. And pretty much everything is removable. So you can wash it. And you need to wash it because these things stink after long hikes and stuff. So you need to be able to kind of take everything apart and wash it. And the pack that I'm currently using, this is my baby. This is her brain, which I don't really ever, even like long backpacking, I don't really ever use her brain. This is my Aura Osprey Aura. She is 65 liters, and she's really cool because she's got like this architecture here. And I'm not showing you all of this to show off my gear. I'm just showing you the different levels that you can get to as far as this. This is an expensive pack. When you buy your pack, it would be a good idea, it would behoove you, or be in your best interest, to go to REI and get fitted. I went to REI and I got fitted, and I'm glad that I did because when I was initially looking at backpacks, I thought I would be a medium. I'm not a medium, I'm a small. And if I had gotten a medium, it would not sit correctly on my body. And so when you go to REI, this is my suggestion, hopefully REI is not gonna yell at me. When you go to REI, get fitted at REI. If you find something you really like, then you can pay for it, then pay for it. But if you're like me, I had to kind of save up and wait to get mine. And so I went to REI and I got fitted, and I figured out what fits and what sits right on me. And they do, when they fit you, they like put weight in there and they like distribute weight and everything, which is great. And then I put it on my Amazon wish list, and then I got it for Christmas. So that's what I suggest you do. So for as far as packs go, you know, when you're first starting out, go to Play It Again Sports, see if you can rent equipment from either, you know, REI or Cabela or even your state parks. But you will need a pack. It's important that you have a pack. And external versus internal frames, it's entirely up to you. You know, I like internal frames. This is an external frame. There's nothing really wrong with it. It's just kind of a bit more clunky in my opinion. And then there are ultralight frames, and those, everyone has their own opinion. I think ultralight is I have to be careful because the ultralight community is kind of a cult, and they will come after you. They are great in that they can make you move quickly and they don't have a lot of weight. However, the packs oftentimes, at least for me, are not as durable. So they rip really easily. Like one of the reasons, and they break really easily. And I'm rough on equipment. And so for me, an ultralight pack is not worth the $400, $500, what have you. So the other thing that you will probably end up investing in at some point in time, these are trekking poles. I really love these because they have shock absorbers. So like when you're going up and down carrying a pack, you've got some shock absorption. And if you don't have that, I would suggest getting a walking stick. So I've talked about this in my previous video. That's Gandalf. And the reason having these is good is that when you're going up and down trails with a heavy pack on your back, using one of these for balance is very helpful. So too, if you're going over rocks and you can't see what's on the other side, you can clunk this and it will alert any critters, also snakes, that there's something big coming. And so you need to get out of the way, Mr. Sneaky Snake. And he'll do that. I'll get into the water like filtration system and water stuff in a minute. But I also carry this on the outside of my pack because I drink a lot of water on trail and that's really important to me. I also carry, if you're wondering, I also carry a Kula cloth. So Kula cloth for ladies, this is, you know, like men could just go pee and they just shake it off or whatever, but like we need to like take care of ourselves. So this is a Kula cloth, and they're specifically made as anti-bacterial, antimicrobial, and then you keep that on your hip belt. So I'll show you how my pack sits and how your pack should sit. So this is my pack, and obviously normally it would be full of stuff. The way that your pack should sit is it should sit here. So the majority of the weight should be here, right? And this is really open up at the top just because I haven't tightened it. But like that, right? And so like when I pack, this is a small, by the way, like that, right? And some people, when they're trying to reduce weight, will go as far as to like cut these and then seal them off so that they don't fray. I don't really care enough to do that. It doesn't bother me as much. So when it's sitting here on your person, by the way, if you want to know what this is, it is right, so it should be sitting, the majority of the weight should be sitting right here on your hip. All right, so when you go and get fitted, that's what you want. So I keep, like in my pockets, I keep this, Kula cloth, and that way I don't have to like completely take my pack off when I go pee, which is, I drink a lot of water, so I pee a lot. And then on this side, I have my saline solution because I wear contacts and bugs love to fly in my eyeball. And then I got my snacks in there. It's also really important, and I've hit on this on my other videos, but please make sure that you have a safety whistle. This actually comes with its own safety whistle, like the Osprey pack does. It's not very good.